Good morning. Today we are going to discuss about the daily current affairs, and these current affairs are not from the conventional newspaper like the Hindu, the Indian Express, etc. Basically, these current affairs are from important newspaper like Economics Times, the Economic Times, the Business Standard, Times of India, etc. These are some of the unconventional newspaper which carried a vast depth which you will understand in this lecture. Now let's start with the first article. The first article is about the Calcutta High Court 6 reports from the state government on the compensation. Recently what happened in city of Kolkata, severe flood has arrived. In this situation, around 8 to 9 people have died and many were injured. What happened due to this flood? The transportation was disrupted, mobility was disrupted, mobility in terms of regular mobility of the people for market, for work, etc. Transportation system was disturbed. We have discussed about the transportation, mobility. Though communication system is not disturbed because today we are using the satellite spectrum which provides internet and telephone facilities. Earlier there used to be problem around 2000 to 2005 and before that also when there used to be heavy rain, floods all around. The communication system used to be disturbed due to the cable breakage and etc. Transportation mobility and one of the most important factors which was affected in terms of trade was disrupted, human life was lost. Against this, the state government has provided with some of the compensation, and for this compensation Kolkata High Court 6 report from the state government on this compensation. These topics, the topics deals with the flood, which can be also called flash flood, heavy downpour. There was immense rainfall around some of the places around Calcutta was getting rainfall around 350 mm, 250, sorry, 350 cm, 250 cm rainfall in one day. This led to the severe blockage in the sewage system, disrupted drainage system. The government and the municipal corporation has alleged that the major flood, one of the major flood causes the release of DVC, Damodar Valley Corporation, water release from Farakka Barrage, which created havoc in the city. So the most important thing to be covered here is High Court, water stress problem, water resource problem, management problem, urbanization, role of public institution or judiciary in disaster management. Since the questions are coming to very specific, there can be also questions regarding the role of judiciary in tackling the urban problems or role of judiciary in water management issues. So these can be the possible questions. Moving to the second article. This article is basically an advertisement. This article is basically an advertisement which is promoting the Andhra tourism. There are several places mentioned, like in terms of trade, in terms of culture, Kondapalli was mentioned. And Gandikota, Grand Canyon was mentioned, which was asked in UPSC 2021. or 2022 or something. So these are important places. It is not visible. I will provide this in a later lecture with written, handwritten notes of these important places. Basically, it's like a tourism policy of Andhra government in which the government is promoting a Buddhist circuit which is present in Amravati, Nagarkonda, etc. These are the places which are having the Buddhist history and the promotion of these places can attract tourism from different countries and even the domestic tourism when tourism happen. There is a question when tourism happen. When the people are fascinated by the history of that place, when people are fascinated by the religious values of their place, when people are fascinated by the culture and tradition of that place. So, government of Andhra Pradesh is promoting the religious tourism by improvising Buddhist circuit. Then after there is temple. There is some temples. We know that there is temple in Andhra Pradesh which is dedicated to Lord Vishnu, Tirumala temple, Tirupati temple, world renowned temple. And recently we have seen in news Simhachalam temple which is of Lord Narsindev. There are also historical fort of Vijayanagar which emphasizes the history of Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka region, which were occupied by the Vijayanagar rulers at that time. And now there is a treat plus culture plus tradition. Kondapalli is a place which got the GI tag for its tri-cluster. And we know that tri-business is getting boom day by day. And exploring these clusters could create a potential that would lead to increase in export as well as the export of tradition and culture. Basically, trades are the means of export of tradition and culture. Earlier, the merchant used to travel to Southeast Asia, Central Asia, which can be seen as the great source of Buddhism there. The main page is about this, which Andhra Heritage Circuit, which include all these things. So this is all about this article. Moving to the next article. Recently, an order was passed by the Uttar Pradesh government that there should not be the public display of caste symbols. The purpose was basically to remove the caste discrimination. But writers argue that there are two types of caste. One is dominant caste, dominant caste. Another is less dominant caste. The writer is arguing that the dominant caste occupy most of the resources, which are having the less population but occupy the most of the resources in terms of land, in terms of agricultural lands, properties, etc. They need not to show the caste symbol. They are already dominant. However, the lower caste which are facing the blow of discrimination aspire to improve and show their caste symbols in order to showing their achievement. Examples see here. There is a chamar written here, and this is a product made by the chamar community. They are showing their achievement. They have not achieved till now as much. So in order to glorify their achievement, they show their caste symbol. But when the dominant caste shows, it considered to be the sign of aggression. So there is a dichotomy. It need to be addressed at all level, from the gram panchayat to national level. In between there is a block, there is a district which is headed by DM. So this is all about the caste symbols showing in the public, and this can be also drawn to another conclusion regarding the caste based survey. Caste based survey. This can be related to caste based crime. Basically, the aim of the government is to prevent the prejudice against the caste involved in the crime or something or trial, etc. The next article is about the Flipkart and PhonePe. The the two companies was start the two company were started under the same head, Flipkart and PhonePe. But writers showing that there has been a huge difference in terms of the collection of investment through IPOs, whereas PhonePe is dominant in attracting the investment, while Flipkart is not playing such roles. Here, the differentiating terms has been given. The first factor is market leadership. The PhonePe, which dominates India's UPI payment system with a 45% share, unlike Paytm, which juggle with the multiple business lines. The second factor of thriving PhonePe is simple story for public investment. People like simplicity and clarity. They don't want the complexity. So the PhonePe is in the UPI business and they are stick to it. And they are only limiting itself to the financial inclusion sectors like monetization through insurance, mutual funds, etc., which gives the people the clarity. Third is the regulatory tailwinds. There are several companies which make the policy against the government, against the law, against the established regulation. But PhonePe is in alignment or tailwind with the regulatory processes, regulatory requirements. So the growth of PhonePe is very vivid. Profitability puzzles. While the Flipkart has to face the competition with the another brands like Amazon, Nika, Geomart, Reliance, etc. Whereas PhonePe's the simplistic natures allow it to thrive in the India's market and they could not they are thriving in such a way that the MasterCard visas are not dominating in Indian market. Global parents dynamics. Walmart majority stakes in Flipkart create tension. Walmart has the majority stakes, so there is a tension in Flipkart whether it has to take investment from the US market or Indian market. While PhonePe is very rooted and its center of gravity is in India. However, it is exploring in other markets, but its center of gravity is hinged to Indian market, Indian consumers. And also the next factor is the IPO is more about narrative. PhonePe path shows that the clarity in narrative, not just GMV or user drives market. When there is a clarity in narrative, there is a drive in market, which build confidence. Spin-off create the sharper value. PhonePe's separation from Flipkart unlocked its ability to chart an independent IPO conglomerates, which may create synergies privately but in public market investors reward focus. Timing a strategic weapon. There is also a matter of timing which rewards the companies. US India corridor. Flipkart global entanglements highlighted a bigger themes. India Indian companies must decide whether their center of gravity, what I was talking, is written in this paragraph. PhonePe and Flipkart delivering IPO strategies mirrors India's broader startup ecosystem. However, if we see in broader terms, it represents the India's startup ecosystem. And when is the startup day celebrated? 16th January is the startup day. When it was first celebrated? 2022. Both these companies are wrestling for profitability, but simplicity is the key. Simplify the story, be relevant to the consumers, then you will get the reward from the market. The next is think global, act local. When the center of gravity of the company is in Indian market, they will gain more recognition from the investor within India. However, the other countries' market trust their own companies rather than Indian companies. These comparisons shows that IPO is not just attracting investment, it is also about the narrative building, it's about simplicity, it's about clarity. So this is all about this article. Moving to the next article. Tejas deal take off, but import state stakey. MK1 MK1A jets order has been given to HAL, but the key difference is the jet engine. It is still not prepared in India. So the time it will improve. So this is all about this article. And the purpose is to boost domestic defense manufacturing, strategic capability, etc. Engage with Ladakh. Recently, there has been huge protest by the youth, which is called Gen Z, in Ladakh. And the reason of the protest has been widely discussed. There was a demand of statehood from Ladakh. There was demand of people from Ladakh to include in sixth schedule. Sonam Wangchuk was arrested. It is still not arrested, but his companies, his NGO, which got the 1.5 crore funding, has been banned. So this is the latest development, and it's also the matter of internal security because in our neighborhood country like Bangladesh, country like Nepal has faces the huge Gen Z protest, and outside elements are also trying to use Indian NGOs by funding them to create such havoc in India. Moving to the another article. This article is about the offering divine. In Indian worship system, there is Aarti celebration. It is basically a devotional way to present oneself to God. Like camphor burn itself through sublimation, and there is no marks of the camphor after burning. In similar way, the people through his devotion present oneself to the God and sublime to the God or authority. This has been taught in Bhagavad Gita by Sri Krishna. Moving to the next article. This article is basically about the urban challenges in which transportation and mobility is the important, and in there is the congestion. We can see the congestion in bigger cities, metropolitan cities, even in tier 1 cities, tier 2 cities, etc. This is all about the bad management of the traffic. So the author here is talking about the use of AI, Internet of Things, to improve the transportation system. We talk about the smart city, and a smart city needs the smart transportation facilities. Several things has been placed like the fast tracks and use of AI, automation, robotic system can solve the traffic system like diversion, changing direction, saving people from accident, saving people from collision, etc. Transforming urban mobility. So this is all about this article. This article is about the UPI payment fall by 22%. Recently, we have seen in Karnataka use people were using UPI, but income tax department raided these businessmen and small vendors because they have raised so much money by selling products and not giving tax. So this is so people are avoiding using API in some of the places. This article is about the new H-1B visa policy in which 90 lakh dollars has to be paid one time. The author argues that the new H-1B visa policy will hurt the US interest rate while it is competing with the China 2.0. It will definitely hurt the United States interest, especially in terms of robotics, innovation, AI. While China is playing another league, India is also advancing. Some of the states like Kerala introduced robotics in class 10th. So basically this article is suggesting that the H-1B visa policy will hurt US interest because when it is about competing with the China has a huge population which is highly skilled in terms of AI. But if we see the US population, 45%, around 40% of the population is graduated in BA and it is a arts degree. So the US company approaches the graduates from foreign countries like India, China to build its market. So this is all about this article. Nicolas Sarkozy, the French former French president, has been charged with a 5-year jail terms. The allegation was that he has followed the corrupt practices when he was in power. in terms of raising funds from Libya. So this is all about this article. Moving to the next article, Musk startup sues OpenAI AI for stealing its trade secret. Trade secrets are the valuable knowledge of the company's key technologies, and Musk says that the OpenAI recruiters are targeting those individuals which are having XAI knowledge. We know that X is a company now owned by Elon Musk. Next article is US springs a surprise economy expand by 3.8% on consumer spending by removing import or reducing import by imposing tariff on different countries. There has been the growth seen in US economy in first quarter is about 3.8%. Earlier it was estimated around 3.3%, which is way higher. The US consumers have shown resilience and confidence in government and invested in US domestic market. HAL flies high on 62 crores. This is the same article which I have discussed earlier. Erdogan said to meet Trump with a $50 billion shopping list. Basically, Boeing and other companies, Erdogan is trying to make deal with the US press. Novel expert dismisses Trump's pitch for Nobel Prize. And also Nobel expert notices the lobbying by President of United States. The reason being dropped was support for Israel in Gaza conflict, trade war, aids cuts to hindrance, hindered chance of a war. The next article is about the role of loans by bank. One of the important things he have discussed that earlier the Reliance, Adani, all were MSMEs. If the banks have not given loan, would not be the company which is today. The important fact is discuss about the MSMEs, what are the schemes related to MSMEs, etc. Next article is logistic. Earlier, there used to be the saying that there is 13 to 14% logistic cost in India. Before that, it was even higher estimate. But recently, a complete survey has been conducted by DPIIT, Department of Promotion of Industries and Internal Trade, with the help of National Council of Appellate Economic Research, which suggests that it is around 7.97% of logistic cost. The reason for reduction in logistic cost is because of the schemes like PM Gati Shakti, schemes like Sagarmala, ULIP, Unified Logistic Interface Platforms, etc. LEAP, Logistic Efficiency Enhancement Program. Here you can see the logistic cost studies. In 2019, it used to be 8.2%, 2021 7.82, 2021-22 8.97, 22-3, 23 8.84, and it has been reduced 7.97%. Basically, logistic cost reduces due to the infrastructural push, which we call gross fixed capital formation, where government, private players invest in the infrastructure facilities which facilitates transportation, trade, etc. Moving to the next article, domestic sector is strong enough to power growth. Recently, several rating agencies have upgraded India's credit rating. For example, S&P have upgraded from BBB minus to BBB. Japanese rating agencies Rating and Investment Information upgraded India's long-term sovereign credit rating to BBB plus from BBB. And post-COVID, the economy has rebounded. This is about the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, where government is planning to bring some reforms. When the reforms will come, we will study in detail. Grain-based ethanol makers seek cap on new investment. Now the companies are placing investment cap in grain-based ethanol. Moving to the next article, we have seen that US has imposed tariff on India on 50% for buying Russian oils and 50% of because of the trade surplus of India. So which are the sectors which have been affected? So engineering sectors feel tariff US impact. There are many other sectors which one day we will study of list of the sector impacted by the US tariff. The data has been given. Moving to the next article, our ties with Russia time tested. India-Russia relations has been tested in difficult times, even today. Indian government has asked US to relax curbs on the Iran oil. The reason being the US is asking India from shifting from Russian oil to another market. But US has banned the major oil producing like Venezuela, Iran, etc. Next article is 65,000 crore investment has been drawn in food processing sector. It is a part of GS3. Coca-Cola and Reliance has invested. Moving to the next article, e-commerce festive pickup post GST tailwind. GST reforms has impacted many sectors in positive manners. Even it benefits consumers. We will summarize all the sectors or different as possible as different sectors which are impacted by the GST reforms in positive manners. And we will also critically analyze all the situations. See, e-commerce sale jumps to 23 to 25% year on year. Moving to another examples of GST reforms, Fortune Oil, which earlier used to deal in the vegetation oil, will also serve roti. CAF 3 norms is about it gives the pooling flexibility to car companies like some companies, companies 1, company 2, company 3. Moving to the next article, government searching for candidate for second bench of administrative tribunal. Finding the pulse. Indian consumers are no longer just chasing the affordability, they are chasing aspirations. A new report by the Rukam capital map has now shifting preferences of reshaping markers. People are now following different lifestyle which focuses on healthy feeding habit, focusing on product which are sustainable environment, etc. This article suggests that if India is going to continue buying the Russian oil, there will be economic consequences and it is not hidden. In order to minimize the economic consequences, the government has to reduce or diversify the market. Moving to the next article, push for market efficiency. This article is about anchor investors. There has been change in the norms of anchor investor. Since it is not visible here, I will provide the written notes for this article. Basically, it is talking about the anchor investor. Anchor investors are those investors which are investing initially in IPO. One third of Indian kids have high triglyceride, having high cholesterol, low density lipoprotein cholesterol. Kerala has the highest proportion of affected children. While Delhi has the highest population affected by hypertension. Agni Prime tested from the train. India became the fifth country. इससे पहले US, रशिया या USSR, चाइना, नॉर्थ कोरिया etc. have tested. Online organ donation portal to bridge demand and supply gaps. There has been several demands for organ implantation in different cases like TB, heart problems, kidney, etc. So online systems has been built to reduce the gap. Bihar election to be started from 5th of November and there is or there will be the campaign going on by different political parties in Bihar. Wangchuk 1.5 crore रिसीव और FCRA लाइसेंस इसका कैंसिल कर दिया गया है. Indus Water Treaty, we know about Indus Water Treaty. NMC There has been several complaints that doctors are not treating patients fairly, and there has been negligence from the doctor side, which NMC can address. This is about the same story. MiG-21 flies. That is caste characterization in Bollywood. Earlier, there used to be the hidden representation, but now it is more at the center. Only 5% of US staff on HP H1B वीजा एसेंचर का कहना है। आरबीआई ने ऑप्शन निकालेगा जो बार बार ओटीटी आता है उसको एड्रेस करेगा। मेट्रो वर्क से पिंपरी चिंदवाड़ में वाटर फैसिलिटीज़ डिस्टर्ब हो गया। फाइनेंशियल फ्रॉड, elderly lost 1.8 crore to crooks posing a CBI officer. Moving to the next article, 350 crores online gaming app racket. This is also online fraud, financial fraud. This could be used in GS paper 4 ethics. What are the ethical implications? So this is all about today. Thank you. We'll make. Thank you.